Codependents, are you feasting on crumbs? Listen up, because I'm where you want to be in terms of putting the work in on yourself, and you want to stop these types of patterns. So let's talk about the top 3 signs that someone may be breadcrumbing you, and some of the reasons why you may be allowing that to happen in the first place. So maybe you're thinking, I kind of like the crumbs. And to that I say, there is no damn way you prefer the crumbs over whole chips, okay? There's no way. So if we would look at a relationship from the start, a new relationship, it's kind of like opening up a bag of chips, right? At first, all the chips are like perfect, assuming you didn't grab the bag that looks like someone stomped all over it and then threw it back on the shelf. So you've got this bag of chips, you've got all of that, in terms of a relationship, you're getting all of that attention, that admiration, that effort from someone in a brand new relationship. And that could be, a romantic relationship, a friendship, a work relationship, whatever it is, whatever type of relationship it is for you. So you see at first, like all of this is happening, and then you start to reach down into the bag, and then all of a sudden, like you're getting one that's like this isn't a whole chip, but you know what? It's still good. I'm gonna eat it. I'm not really gonna eat these because honestly, I think they're flat, but anyway. So you start reaching in that bag and you find these broken chips, and you're like, okay, let's not be picky. A chip is still a chip, right? These chips are delicious. And so right back into that relationship thought process, maybe the texts are coming in a little less, or the phone calls are coming in less. The effort is shifting to be more on you. And, you're becoming the one that really has to lift off the idea of following through on plans or even making those plans. Still manageable, okay, all right. So now you get back down into the chippy bag, and it's like, you're reaching around, and all of a sudden, you're not pulling anything but crumbs. And then by this point, you're just like, what happened to all the chips? What happened to all those perfect whole chips I saw in the beginning, or even, even the half, good looking ones that as I was digging in there, I was finding. But the thing is, now you love these chips. And by this point, you're just dying to have a bit more of a taste, even if it barely hits your tongue. And so now you're starving. And this person, in terms of the relationship, is letting you do all the damn effort. The admiration and attention is gone, and they're down to one-word replies. And now they've presented you with a whole new bag of chips, except this chip is chock full of whole chips of excuses and the occasional crumb from the old batch, just to keep you wanting more. And so if you're left hangry, but you don't, now you're confused, and now you're looking for the crumbs because you're like, man, at this point I'll still take the crumbs. You remember how good the chips were in the beginning and how they tasted, and so it's like you're trying to get those whole chips back from crumbs. So obviously I love chips. But what I don't love is feeling starved for attention. And today I want to give you 3 signs to watch out for that I feel like really resonated with me, as I started to do some reflection on a relationship that recently ended, where someone was kind of breadcrumbing me. And so the first one, they're flirts, okay? I used to be a flirt, and I kind of say used to be, but I am, but let's dig into that a little more. So I used to be a flirt, and then I realized I was leading people on for my own ego and totally, hurting people in the process, and flat out that just didn't feel good. Don't get me wrong, back to my point, I still flirt, but now it's done with a bit more intention. And really only towards those I have genuine interest. If someone is flirting, I would say be open to receive the compliments, why not? But don't feast on them, especially if there's no real action taken to move forward. And so the second point I would say, and the second point like absolutely kills me, and that's when people are like busy and magically like something grave always seems to come up when you do finally have plans together. And so these are the ones that like make plans and then it's like, they had to cancel, like, and I get it, people can get sick, things can happen, that's natural. But I'm talking about like something happens and it's like ingrown toenail or my aunt's dog died type of excuses paired, this is important, paired with an apology, but kind of no real commitment to reschedule. It's like kick rocks, you know, if you, like I said, I get it, things happen. I've had to cancel on people, but I really make an effort if I have to cancel on someone to say, okay, look, I can't meet you today, but I can meet you 3 days from now at 1 p.m. to at least show the effort. And that's what you're really looking for. It's not the fact that they cancel, stuff is gonna happen, but it's like the effort after that to recognize, okay, I've canceled on you, but you are a priority and I want to see you, so let me reschedule. And the third, I feel like these ones are the worst, which I shall call the ghost from Xmas past. And this is where you're like basically, you yourself are like basically over it. And so now you're ignoring them. And then all of a sudden, like that ghost from Christmas past, they reappear. They miss you. They want to know what's been going on and basically why you're not chasing them. Like, why aren't you loving all the crumbs I've been giving you? It's like you're so ungrateful. To me, like the worst, okay? Don't be one of those people. And I could really go on with this list, but it's kind of like once you know these 3 signs, I would say, like, you want to do your best to avoid the trap. Like, don't let somebody have to tell you multiple times in multiple different ways that they're kind of just leading you on, and kind of take those mixed signals as the answer on if they're really interested or not. Because I hate to say it, but it's so true when I hear other people say it, like, indecision, mixed signals is the decision. And so what I want you to do is, rather than, sit there and get out your magnifying glass and try to decode what's going on with them, that could be like a whole other video. But rather than trying to figure them out and try to solve their puzzle, do this instead. Look inward. And so I will reference this book right here, Codependent No More by Melody Beatty. I don't even take my little cheapy, used book sticker off of it because I don't want to mess with the integrity of the cover of it. But this book I will reference and push out to anyone. I am not related to Melody. I don't know this lady at all. But until the day I die, people who are codependent, and even those who think they're not, you need to read this book. It's life-changing, absolute must-read. And so kind of taking some key points that I learned within that book, this is people pleasers, listen up. Here are kind of 3 things to check in on with yourself that might be triggering you to accept that type of unacceptable behavior from others. And so number 1, this is big for me, you're a caretaker. You find yourself drawn like a magnet to needy people. It's like as if there was a reverse lotto of doom and you hit it every damn time. And since you feel responsible for others, it becomes your dying wish to save the world one needy person at a time. I also like to refer this as you being willing to go down with the Titanic. For what? There was a lifeboat, get your ass on it and get out. Number 2, this is, again, I feel like all of these are really daggers, but stuff I've been working on. But this one in particular, you have a low self-worth. And it really burns me to say, like I said, because I'm so guilty here of putting people on a pedestal where they don't belong. That's my pedestal. I have to learn to not be putting people up there, because what happens is then I start to look outward for their validation to feel whole about myself. And unfortunately, that's not how this works. That is not how any of this works. There's this line that Matthew McConaughey, the actor, said that really sticks with me, and it's be less impressed and more involved. Because if someone is on a pedestal and you're just up there admiring them, like, you can't even really take in what they're saying or what they're doing, and it's kind of like operating with your blinders on. So less impressed, more involved on that one. And then the last, you are emotionally dependent and feel paralyzed at the thought of losing anyone or anything of which you perceive value. So again, like having that person on a pedestal, when they start to ignore you or they're not giving you the attention, you're just like, you're lost, because now you've been reliant on those chips, those partial chips, and now the breadcrumbs. And it's like, how are you going to even survive if this person is not paying attention to you? So these are just some of the crumbs that I would say start out as chips, and then, go lower from there, that you should be mindful of in any type of relationship, not just like a romantic relationship, if you will. The bottom line and biggest takeaway here, if you take away, like, okay, you don't even want to listen to the points I just laid out, is you are worth so much more than crumbs right now, as is. I don't care what you look like, what you do for a living, who you know, what you don't know. I don't care about what kind of car you drive, what kind of house you live in. Who cares? Right now, as is, you are enough. And the biggest thing is like, you don't let anybody feed you otherwise. When you become strong enough within, anything that anyone does is just a compliment to that. And if it's not, like, there's the door. So I hope you found this useful. I have one teeny tiny ask. If you found this information useful, if you wouldn't mind just hitting the like button or the thumbs up, whatever the hell it is that you see, because that's gonna help me know what type of content you find useful in order for me to help you. All right, happy Friday. Have a good one.